Steve Cleveland is in Las Vegas as we prepare for a coverage of the West Coast Conference Tournament, and he's on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline. We're very excited to get down to Vegas. We'll be live there tomorrow. Steve Cleveland, President Coach, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. Doing very well.
Awesome.
I wish we had time today to tell you some Adrian Wojnarowski stories when he was at Fresno State covering the Bulldogs when Tarkanian was here.
So you know him.
That would make for a long show. I could write a book on all that. Adrian's a great guy and an outstanding writer.
What do you make of the possibility of Jimmer coming back to the NBA for maybe even for a month and a half? But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think from the beginning that was the plan. So I think that everybody's looking for players, and I think it's a great idea, and it gives him another opportunity. We'd all like him to have another opportunity, but I think coming from China in that situation, he'll have been playing. He's got a lot of confidence. It's just a matter of whether someone wants to take a chance on him, and we've talked about this before. He's not really a point guard in the NBA. He's got to be a two. There's just some size issues, and he's not really a guy that sits in the corner and spots up and shoots threes. So you got to find the right place for him. But he's plenty good enough. There's a lot of guys in that league that can't shoot, so why not give him a chance?
Guys that can shoot won some awards as well yesterday with the West Coast Conference Awards. Did you think those were fair? Player of the Year, Williams Goss. Coach Few, newcomer, Williams Goss. Defensive Player of the Year, Rayhan.
Yeah, I thought they were all fair, to be honest with you. And I thought it was wonderful that TJ made that team because he played really, really well in the WCC and bumped up all of his averages, in scoring 2 or 3 points from regular season and just assists, and had a real impact on the team late. I thought it was all fair. And, Mika had a great year, but when you have two players that have great years and one wins a championship and one doesn't, you go with the one who won a championship.
We obviously know how big knocking off the number one team on their floor. It's now 3 years in a row that BYU's won at Gonzaga. What does that win mean for BYU heading into the tournament?
I think collectively as a team, it increases their confidence. It also increases their understanding of everybody having a role. I think right now everybody's all in, and I don't think that's been the case. And I think people understand their roles, and unless you do understand their role, it's really hard for you to play at the highest level. And I think the other thing is that I can't speak for the last 2 years, but I think this team knows that they can control the pace of a game. And they love the pace and to attack and transition, but they can be patient as well as they did the last 5 minutes. And something we all know, talent is never, ever, ever enough by itself. You got to have an IQ and you got to have execution, and they demonstrated that last week, especially against Portland as well. So both games they demonstrated that they took their game to another level.
President Coach Steve Cleveland is on BYU Sports Nation. Does the win at Gonzaga change anything for BYU going into Vegas? What does it change?
Well, I don't. I think that here's what I think is really important. Expectations are expectations, and they've been dealing with those all. You know what? The expectations just got increased again because of that win. But expectations are good. You can't be great unless there are expectations. I think for the first time, I've seen and witnessed players take ownership of this team, where they hold each other accountable. And I've kind of been waiting for this for a long time, to be honest with you. They got great coaches at BYU, and they're preparing these young men to play and compete. But until a team takes ownership of themselves, they never, ever reach their ceiling. And I think you're seeing more of that. They need to continue to do that, not just in this year, in the coming years. If they want to be what they want to be, they have to take ownership. It's got to be their team. They got to all be in.
Who and when did you see that happen?
I saw it at Portland, to be honest with you. And I know we were playing a team that had lost 14 in a row, but they shared the ball. They communicated with each other on the phone, on the floor. They came off the floor because I was sitting there doing the radio, so I was right there next to the team. I saw guys suggesting and getting into each other about doing certain, even in a win. Hey, we can be better. We can do this. And I wasn't sitting on the floor at the Gonzaga game, but as I watched it, you just saw more communication between players. Hey, you got to have great coaches, but great teams coach themselves once they get on the floor and they hold each other accountable.
Coach, our Twitter question today is, which player is the key to success for BYU at the West Coast Conference Tournament? I went with Eric Mika. Jerem went with TJ Haws. Do you agree with either one of us, or are you going out on a limb by yourself?
Well, I think if they can continue to get the play out of Elijah Bryant that they've got, I expect TJ and Mika to do what they've been doing, so I don't think that's going to be a surprise if they do. But Elijah had a big breakout week there where, he goes 39 and 14, so it's 53 points. If he becomes a steadying influence in this team and they know they can count on him for 15 or 16 points a game, then that might be the difference maker. That might be the X factor.
What has clicked with him? Is it just finally being healthy, or is there something else?
I think it's a combination of being healthy, playing, probably frustrated, probably coaches talking to him, watching film with him, realizing he's not playing to his potential. He's trying to force everything. He finally let the game come to him, and he's just more patient, under control. And even doing the interview with him on radio after the Portland game, he just seemed to have a presence about it and be in the moment in terms of just, okay, I can breathe. I'm going to do this. I'm going to play. I know I can play. I've done this my whole life, and it's time that I do it. And I think that he's to be given a lot of credit for that. And they're going to need him to play well in this tournament if they expect to win the tournament. I mean, we think we know Mika and TJ for the most part will be there. The key thing now is how do you follow up a great week and the most important week of the year?
Okay, let's say it's next Wednesday, and we're chatting, and BYU won the tournament. What did BYU do to do it?
Well, we'll go back to your Eric Mika. I think he stayed out of foul trouble, and he's healthy. And they can't beat St. Mary's or the Zags. I'm not sure they can beat LMU unless Eric Mika goes for his 20 and 10 and plays. Well, that's number one. Number two is that the three guards score at least 35-plus points a game. I don't care how they do it, but collectively they got to be in that 35 to 40-point range where the three of them are playing well to win back-to-back games against two really good teams. And then, like I've said before, and they don't normally, officials will not call these games really loose. I mean, they'll let them play. They'll let them play. But if BYU if they win this thing, you're going to look back and see they got to the free throw line maybe 15, 20 times. And then that BYU continued to play with a sense of urgency. We'll look back on this and, man, they played with a sense of urgency every single night defensively. And I think that's important. The one thing we all need to understand is that LMU game, sometimes there might be letdowns, and I don't think there will be a letdown for LMU because they've had a week to digest this thing and watch film and practice and strength and conditioning and go to class and coaches telling them. So I don't think there'll be a letdown, but I promise you this, that LMU believes they can win this game. They lost by 5. They lost by 3. They're a senior-laden team, and they don't care who BYU beat last weekend. This is their year, and it's their time, and they have an opportunity to do something. And that's the mindset that they're coming in. And if there's a single player, coach, fan, or anybody that believes it any differently, then you are misled, because I promise you that LMU will come out ready to play and give BYU everything they want. And that's why it's important for BYU to do the same things they did last weekend. And they've got to put themselves in a situation where they don't allow LMU to control that game. And I've watched both those games, and in both those games, LMU at times looked really, really good. I'm not sure if they completely believe it, but BYU makes to take all that belief away early on in this game, because if they go down to the wire again, it's a slippery slope. So I don't think anybody can overlook LMU, even though we expect BYU to win that game.
Coach, we appreciate the time. We're going to see a lot of you down in Vegas the next couple of days. Get that pool ready to go for us as we descend on Vegas.
Hey, these Orleans rooms, they're missing a few things. I'm not even sure this place has a pool.
We'll just go to another pool.
There we go.
We'll just find another hotel. It's all good. Coach, we appreciate the time.
Good talking to you guys. Have a great day.
We'll see you.